السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا مرحبا مرحبا. Hope you guys are all well. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Let me know if the sound works, if you guys can hear me, and if the screen is working as well, camera is working. So just trying to sort out this. Let me know if the color's okay. Trying to get these cameras sorted. This is one of the biggest headaches you have when you're trying to live stream. Trying to have a live stream without any sort of problems. I think it's going to be something almost impossible. So, marhaban, ahlan wa sahlan. Is the stream, yeah, sounds working? Alhamdulillah, stream is going well. Okay. Haji wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Ahlan wa sahlan. Ya Haji Sahib. MashaAllah. Faisal, I hope everything's okay in Germany. Jazakallah khair. Bima wa alaikum assalam. And Ayan, yes. The man Ayan, alhamdulillah. He's going to grow up, inshallah, to be the Ayan of the UK. Loving your new setup. Looks very nice and cozy. We wait for these sessions so eagerly. The whole family, alhamdulillah. Bima family. A shout out to Bima family. Yasin, wa alaikum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan. Yasin from South Africa. My South African family. Yasin, you're my family, man. And Harun Ahmad. Ahlan wa sahlan, Harun. Welcome. Right, so I think we should start the questions then. Let's just check out what are the questions. Actually, let me try to see if I can put the questions on the screen. Okay, excellent. I think it's going to work here. Brilliant. So it's been a very nice week, alhamdulillah. Here in the UK, weather's been very, very good. And yes, questions have come up here, so I can read them from the screen. All right, so question time. What all you guys have been waiting for. So, one second, let me just get some thing to drink. Give me 2 minutes. Right. Let's start then. Okay. Question number 1. How can we translate the following line in English? هذا إشارة إلى ترك التخصيص القرآن بإخبار أحد. جزاك الله خير. So I don't know exactly what the whole text you're talking about here is. The translation of this, I would say, is that this signifies that this is a signification of leaving, or indication of leaving, the restriction of the Quran with solitary narrations. That's basically what translation that is. Okay, next question. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Currently, I'm in my last year of Dawra Hadees, but I feel I don't uni after this academic year, but I need a way to learn those Islamic subjects as well as Arabic till I have a firm understanding from Birmingham, by the way. Allah Akbar, from Birmingham, by the way. Look at that. That's the way, man. This is Birmingham blood here, yeah. You know, like when you're in the airport somewhere in a different country and you see someone from your own like kind of country, and then you kind of get so happy, excited, as though, you know, this person is the most important person in the world. So okay, so what would you recommend I do? Courses, self-study, jazakallah khair. I wouldn't be able to say at this moment because I don't exactly know your situation, your understanding of the subjects. You'd have to be assessed kind of. But what I would say is just general advice. I would say is if you feel that you're weak in any subject, if that weakness is because you don't understand the subject, then I would suggest that you go and study it with someone. But if you feel that you understand it, like you say you understand like 40-50% of it, and 40-50% you're not really sure about, then I would advise that you go and study this. Yeah, study it. Try to get a better understanding on your own. You can do it on your own, right? So just like read books. You can do that. It all depends upon exactly what you want to for their graduation. They feel they're weak. It's natural. You are going to feel weak. You're not going to understand everything. But what you need to feel basically when you qualify is you need to be able to feel that you've understood like the essence of the science. Like you understand. You could explain to someone basically what roughly that science is about. If you've got that, then you've done quite well, right? And the rest of it is just your own sort of self-studying. So self-studying, is I would say 70-80% of what I have, gained today, you can say, is probably through my own self-studying. Yeah, and that's natural. That's what happens. Because when you self-study, you learn more information. With your teachers, you're just kind of like trying to get a grip and understanding of the gist of the science. That's what it's about. Okay, let's check out some of your questions here. Beam away reflection, no question. Your lamp at the back, get one of those Alex. Yeah, so that's one of those kind of like little, those kind of string bulbs that you have. But yeah, I think it's the lighting. I need to get a new camera. That's the thing. I need to get a new camera. But the problem is at the moment, webcams are triple. Some of them are quadruple the price. The really good ones that I want to get. And I should have actually got that one, last year or in the beginning of this year, before COVID and all that. But yeah, hopefully, inshallah, because I've got a good line now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to connect my normal camera, my mirrorless camera. But I'm going to order this thing, that device, it's called a adapter or a cam link. There's one called Black Magic. I was going to get that, but it wasn't working with my fiqh. Would you recommend for beginners, intermediate, advanced, and which is Hanafi usul fiqh? Okay, so Hanafi fiqh. Basically, what I would suggest in Hanafi fiqh is that a person studies, first of all, so this is how I would teach it, the like ideal sort of setup. What I would do first of all is number one, I would explain each chapter to the student in my own words. So the wudu, I would explain in my own words. It's just like I do my crash courses on my YouTube channel. I would do that in a similar way. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is then I would go on to a text, and the text I would go on to personally would be Quduri text. That's what I would go on to. Go through Quduri it like just a normal fiqh book. You have to teach it as Quduri. And what I mean by that is sometimes some people, when they teach fiqh, they teach all the books of fiqh in the same manner. Like they'll teach Nur Idah in the same manner, they'll teach maybe Kanz in the same manner, Qudur all the same. Basically, what I mean is read the text, translate it, explain the masala, carry on. Read the text, explain the masala, carry on. Which is good, but if you really want to appreciate Quduri, you need to be able to have this sort of like slightly deeper understanding of the approach of Quduri. Yeah, and like focus on that. Then after Quduri, then I would teach maybe something like Hidayah or Badaya Sanaya. Yeah, Hidayah, Badaya Sanaya. This is very good. And then I would encourage the student to do self-reading on the side with each book. And that will develop the student, I think. So I would say that is the best. If you can read these books on your own, then yeah, go for it. Otherwise, Usul fiqh, I would say, in the same manner, Usul fiqh, study the usul, the concept, the khulasa of the usul fiqh. So like I've done on my uruk.com. Yeah, if anyone's interested, you can get it on the WhatsApp. So uruk.com, it's basically kind of like that, where I've kind of like 28 lessons. I've gone through the entire thing. Once you go through that, then I would suggest going through Usul al-Shashi or Matn al-Manar. You got a choice. Usul al-Shashi I'd prefer. Matn al-Manar I'd prefer. But if you want to do Usul al-Shashi, that's also Usul. Okay, why now? Assalamu alaikum. Is that plant behind you real? Yes, that's a real plant. That is. Yeah, it's a real plant. That was the plant I was telling you guys about on Friday that I bought, and they didn't mark in they didn't check it in the receipt in the when I was paying for it. Okay, now see the camera lighting. Now see, I'm gonna change the intensity now. Intensity is gonna get a bit more intense, bit more red. Yeah. Okay, a bit there. And brightness, I can put the brightness a bit low. I can put contrast a bit low as well there. What do you guys think of that? Is that good? Better? Settings. This is what humans need to develop in the future, inshallah. Right. So, back to the questions then. Okay, assalamu alaikum. I wanted to know if a husband disliked that his wife visits her parents, should she obey him in this regard? And what advice would you give to a woman whose husband is emotionally abusive towards her and their children? If you know anyone who she can contact for Islamic counseling, would be much appreciated. Okay, so first of all, when it comes to the rights of husband and rights of wives, the things that we have to remember is that these kind of issues are related to sort of like social, they're related to the social conduct, yeah, the social sort of like convention, how things work in the society normally. And this is something which is basically different from society to society. Now, in the fiqh books, when you find, like, they mention about the husband, and they say things like, you know, if the wife wants to go to her parents, can the husband stop her? A lot of these masail are actually like developed based upon the circumstances of their time, the culture of their time. These kind of sort of like marriage sort of masail. So that's why when in the books of fiqh they say things like the husband is not allowed to prohibit the wife from going to her parents if it's at least once a week. So at least once a week she should be allowed to go, even if the husband doesn't want her to go. She is totally in her right to go. So this once a week, this is not necessarily from like an ayah of the Quran or a hadith or something like that. This is based upon the urf of that time. Yeah. Again, these kind of masail require understanding between the husband and wife. It's all about the issue of understanding and how, you know, these kind of things work. So what advice would you give to an abusive husband, for an abusive husband who's emotionally abusive as well? The guy is obviously, you know, may Allah guide him. The guy is doing wrong. This is totally wrong. You know, people tend to think that marriage is about sort of like becoming possessive, becoming controlling over the other person, which is totally wrong. Now, naturally, some people might be naturally more possessive. Yeah, whether it's the husband, he becomes possessive of the wife, or if it's the wife and she becomes possessive of the husband. This sometimes in some people is natural. It's very difficult to brush off. So this is something people, husband and wife, has to have to work on. And you know, what I would suggest is there are some people out there, and what I'll do is, inshallah, if I forget in the week, I'll put a link there to an organization that actually deals with family sort of issues, husband and wife issues, and counseling as well. And that's one of the biggest things that we have to, you know, admit today, which is family problems in the Muslim community need to be resolved with, you know, good counseling, like robust, good, wholesome counseling. And many people just think to themselves, we don't need counseling. Yeah, we're not in need of counseling. But that's where the mistake is. You know, you do need counseling. Counseling is actually, the Quran it mentions about counseling as well, in the way that it talks about if the husband and wife are not getting on, you call one person from the husband's family and one from the wife family, and they sit down and they discuss it. This is a type of counseling. You kind of like discuss all the problems in the marriage, because I mean, I've only done counseling once here, and I don't intend to do it again. Yeah, I'm not a counseling guy, basically. It's not kind of my, you know, my sort of like field. But counseling itself is something which you need to be trained for it. It's most of counseling is about listening to the both sides and making them listen to each other. That's what I personally think counseling is 70-80% is about. Is that you kind of like have to discuss it with each other. The wife has to. And I remember the one time I did counseling, so many things came out that the husband said in front of his wife, and so many things the wife said. And then I was like, oh. And I said to the husband, because the husband called me to kind of do a bit of counseling. And I said to the husband, I said, look, you called me, yeah, and I'm gonna be unbiased between you both. If I hear something which sounds as though you're wrong, I'm gonna say to you you're wrong. If I hear something that your wife is wrong, I'll say to her you're wrong. Yeah, and that's basically. So I don't know how they're doing now, if they've split up or something, or I don't know. But they were kind of like really. But that's what happens in these kind of things. Right. Assalamu alaikum. Next question. Currently, that one already. Assalamu alaikum. How can I put the following verb irtaba in past tense, first person? So irtabtu. So you say irtabtu. Irtaba, irtaba, irtabu, irtabat, irtabata, irtabna, irtabta, irtabna. Yeah? So irtabtu, first person. Salam, can you tell me a little bit about the book Mukhtasar al-Manar for Hanafi Usul and how it's different from Usul al-Shashi? Okay, yeah. So Mukhtasar al-Manar is a later work. According to most scholars, Usul al-Shashi was done in the 400s, roughly 400-500s. Mukhtasar al-Manar was done in the 600s, right? So Mukhtasar al-Matn al-Manar, they call it. This is a book which is a very, very condensed book. Like trying to study it without a teacher, if you haven't studied Usul before, is like almost impossible, right? If you haven't studied Usul before. If you have studied Usul, you can possibly get through it. So it's very condensed, difficult to understand. Usul al-Shashi is not like that. Usul al-Shashi is very sort of like open, easy to understand. You can know Arabic and you can read it, and a lot of stuff you'll understand yourself. But I would still recommend you have a teacher to clarify for you some sort of like side points. So that's the main difference. Like Usul al-Shashi would be 5 or 6 times more clear than Matn al-Manar. Matn al-Manar is very condensed. Second difference is Usul al-Shashi, it kind of like, it's a very sort of like early text, I would say. Early text in the sense as like a more of a beginner intermediate text. Matn al-Manar is probably good if you know some Usul from before. You'll appreciate Matn al-Manar if you know some Usul from before, because he hints towards certain things in the condensed text. And if you don't know some Usul before, your teacher will have to kind of like explain double. You got to learn the first year and you got to learn the second year as well. So that's, I would say. Both of the books are very good in the sense that they develop inside of a person the ability to be able to think. That's what you want from Usul Fiqh, really. You want to be able to think how the fuqaha used to think, because that develops inside of a student the understanding of how to appreciate masail in the major books. So in the major books, when you study fiqh, you begin to appreciate where these masail came from, and how the journey from the early scholars to the later scholars, how the masala reached where it reached. So yeah, usul I enjoyed teaching usul. At the moment, with a full time I'm teaching, we've started usul al-Sarakhsi this week. Usul al-Sarakhsi. So it's very sort of like detailed. It's very Usul al-Sarakhsi is a very, very sort of like, I personally think Usul al-Sarakhsi, you study Usul al-Sarakhsi, you develop inside yourself a very, very high, strong ability to be able to understand a lot of issues of today's times in the light of fiqh. Yeah, how to tackle problems, how to break them down. Because Imam Sarakhsi not only was he a faqih, but he was also an usuli as well. So he combines the two. Where this is rare in fiqh, in any madhab, where you find a scholar who is an expert in usul and is an expert in fiqh as well. It's very rare to find a person who combines the two. So, Sarakhsi, yeah, he's the man. Yeah. And then after you study Sarakhsi, you can actually go into, Fusul fil Usul Jassasis. Right. Bint Imran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Would you recommend starting with your Kanz or Quduri playlist for a beginner to be? You can do both, See, when I did the Quduri ones, I didn't have in mind that I'd be doing the Kanz one. Yeah, so this is why if you kind of listen to them, you can see that sometimes in the Quduri one, I do go a bit, like kind of like a bit deep into it. But yeah, you can start with either. I mean, I think maybe you start with the Quduri one, but I think both of them would be fine. I love this new setting, but I miss the books. They are too far away now, and we could only see a few. Yeah, so there's one there, and there's one over there, as you can see, and there's one over here, one on my side here. Things change, man. Yar. Abu Bakr, Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Is there a good Arabic series as key stage learning for building vocab? Also, is grammar required for reading Islamic texts, or is it more needed for Quran? Have you studied Arabic before? If you've studied Arabic before, then what I would suggest is you start like a basic stories, stories, kid stories, Arabic kid stories. You can get a lot of them online. Yeah, so online. If you just go into Google or something and you type in, قصص للأطفال, something like that, قصص للأطفال, and they get all these websites come up, and you'll find lots of books in there, and they're very, very easy to follow, and the stories are like very simple. You don't have to think too much about them. So the good thing about those is you'll be applying your Arabic, you'll be understanding, what they're talking about. Yeah. By the way, I don't know if is my sister watching. My sister basically watched one of my live stream yesterday. Yeah. So, and my niece watched it as well. So my niece, you remember I was showing yesterday you guys those toys, those learning alphabet and the musalla for learning how to pray salat. Well, my young niece, she's about just over 2 years old. She was on the screen saying that these are my toys, these are my toys, these are my toys. So now I'm going to have to buy her that prayer mat. I was going to buy the prayer mat anyway. But now, Umayya, if you're watching, it's my niece's name. Yeah, Umayya, if you're watching, yeah, I'm going to have to buy you. So if you're watching, yeah, say that, Mamu, I want a prayer mat. If you say that to me very nicely, then I'll get you one. Okay? And if she does, then I will send you the video. Yeah, I'll send the video. Okay, so all right, so yeah, that's what I would suggest. See, a lot of the time, what tends to happen is, the students who learn Arabic, what they kind of are thrown into hard Arabic. So they begin to read hard Arabic books. And when you read hard Arabic books, you kind of get put off them. But if you as a student can read Arabic books on your own, storybooks, you can kind of go through them. You feel so much confidence that you can read Arabic for the first time, that you want to read more stuff, right? And it develops you. I got this advice from one of my students who is the one that I was telling you about devising a syllabus. Okay, Yasin. إن تريد رؤية خدمة الدين شاخصا فالمفتي زمان كذلك منور. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا النور يأتي من هناك ومن هناك ومن هناك. Some of you guys were saying that, the Imam Shafi video I did on Wednesday, you were saying the nur was coming from our clothes. Allah subhan. It was actually the nur was coming from me, boy. The nur was coming from me and it was emanating that way. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So that was a bit of a I think the camera I'd put it on the setting I had put it on to it was too high resolution. Okay, so Abu Bakr, I love the lighting for this video, enhances your nur, mashallah, Allahu Akbar. This is the evolution of Roots of Knowledge channel. Bilal Sakji, which scholars in the UK would you recommend to benefit from? All of them. I don't know, I mean, see, it depends. When people ask me which scholars would you recommend to benefit from, yeah, you don't have to study from the same scholars that I find to be very knowledgeable, right? And that's something which I think people need to understand. All scholars can be benefit from some way or somehow. But what do you want to benefit in? Like, how do you want to benefit in social work? Do you want to benefit in, issues related to the masajid, or issues related to maktabs, or issues related to authorship or advanced studies, or anything like that? What do you want to, go into? Then that all depends upon your own like personal preferences. Yeah. Right. What is the best book to learn Insha in Arabic? The best book I would say to learn Insha is a book called Muallim al-Insha. Yeah, it's called Muallim al-Insha. It's in Urdu. I don't know if South Africans have translated into English. It's very good in the sense that the way that's written, it's written by I think some Nadwa ulama, and it kind of like progressively takes you through how to write and how to develop your essay writing skills. Yeah, so that's a very, very good book. It's called Muallim al-Insha. Ullu ka patta. Is there a dua to help reduce fat from the tummy? I'm trying to exercise. Yes, the dua is called get off your backside dua. Yeah, you basically say Bismillah, you get off and you do some exercise. So what I would suggest is basically if you want to lose weight here, this is like a tried and tested method by someone who doesn't even want to lose weight. A tried and tested method. Reduce your portions of eating. Number one, reduce your portions of eating. Number two, every day do some sort of exercise for at least about 15 minutes to half an hour. Every single day do that. And you'll see you're going to start losing weight. Now, will you continue losing weight for a long time? That's up to you. Usually when you lose weight, what tends to happen is you lose a lot of fluids from your body, like water. Yeah. And then that's why you see a quick reduction in your weight in the first few weeks. But then it starts to slow down and plateaus. Then it freezes. Then what you have to do is you have to shock your body. You have to like eat something junk. And then your body gets shocked. And then and then you can kind of like go down again. These are some of the tips I'm giving you guys. Some of your special Liaquat tips here. Why now? MashaAllah, this is an appreciation session. Allahu Akbar. Some of Sab, oh MashaAllah, background is so good. Jazakallah khair. I'm gonna get nazar, this background's gonna get nazar. Yeah, I'm gonna stay calm. So MashaAllah, get there in Pakistan they used to get this like my grandma, she used to get this black sort of like thread tied together and then burn it and then like put it over, you gotta smell it. I don't know. Some weird things they used to do. In Islam, alaikum assalam. I was watching your latest video about reciting hadith in a sad tone. Great video as always. Jazakallah khair. I was just wondering how things like maqam ajam fits in, as it is a kind of like, yeah, definitely. Reciting hadith in a sad, yes, reciting the Quran in a sad tone is because anything you recite, it kind of has an effect on you if you have the right tone with it. Anything, if you think about it. So the reciting in the sad tone is not necessarily something which is an intrinsic part of the Quran. It's more to do with creating the ambience of the Quran, right? The mood, setting the mood. So when you hear those nasheeds, when you hear those bayans with a nasheed in the background, the soft nasheeds, the kind of sad nasheeds, and it kind of makes you teary and all that. Yeah, so maqam ajam, yeah, that would be good. And Maqam Hijaz, I think Maqam Hijaz would also be good. I mean, all of them would be good. It depends on which ayah as well. So when it says read the Quran in a sad tone, it doesn't mean like sad in every single way. It could differ from certain verses to certain verses. Okay, let's check out some questions here. Assalamu alaikum. What is the ruling of falling asleep on a plane seat or sitting in a car? I've heard that if the backside is not firmly placed on seat, for example, if someone is leaning back, it's not sleep wudu will not break. I've also heard that the thing which one is leaning on is removed and the person would fall over, only the wudu would break. Yeah, so this is like a famous masla in Hanafi fiqh, which basically is that your wudu breaks when you go to sleep, okay? If it's a heavy sleep. So the rule is heavy sleep. So heavy sleep, this is a very common term that's been used by later scholars. Later scholars have sort of based the fatwa upon the heavy sleep. But the early Hanafis, they seem to kind of have certain postures. The original posture, which breaks your sleep, everyone agrees upon, is lying down on your side and going to sleep, heavy sleep. That breaks your wudu. Yeah, it's called istilqa. But what about sleeping in other postures? So Hanafis have mentioned about 12 to 13 postures, and you can read this in Si'aya. So he mentions it over there. So for example, like this, resting on something, yeah. And if it's so heavy that if you remove the object and you fell, your wudu would break. But if you didn't fall, like if you could stop yourself from falling, you woke up before you fell down, your wudu don't break. And the other one is sitting like this. So you sit down and you recline, right? And the buttocks are firmly on the seat. So some of the early Hanafis, like Imam Tahawi's position, is that wudu breaks. I call this the motorway position. So you're in the reclining in the back of the car, motorway. You're going to sleep, buttocks on the seat, back is there. Does wudu break? So Imam Tahawi says yes. Others say no, it doesn't, because the buttocks are firmly on the seat. Therefore, the likelihood of something coming out without person putting a bit of force into it, is not going to happen. So this is why there's an ikhtilaf. On the later Hanafis have seemed to kind of take the position of Imam Tahawi and heavy sleep. They're based around heavy sleep. If someone swallowed a fingernail whilst fasting, would that break the fast? Yes. If it was large enough that they could detect it in their mouth. Assalamu alaikum. What's the way to purify the urine of baby from mattress or carpet? So all you have to do is just get a bowl of water, get a cloth, dip it in, and then put it onto the carpet, and then get another cloth and then dry it off. And do this about 3 times. That's it. So with one cloth, you're wetting it, you're moistening it with a bit of water in there, and with the other cloth, you're drying it up. So do this about 2 or 3 times, and it should be fine. Or better than that, if you have one of those fancy washing, hoovers, vacuums, those fancy vacuums that you just vacuum it up, and the water comes out, and then it sucks it up. If you get one of those, it's fine. Okay, let's check out another question here. Naveed Ahmed, Assalamu alaikum, Ustad. My question is regarding engaging in combat sports where you have to punch your opponent in the face for the purpose of competition. Is it allowed in Islam? I would say no. Yeah, so these kind of sports, professional like boxing, where hitting the face, and there's so much medical reports regarding the dangers of these type of sports, that I would say no, it wouldn't be allowed. And especially if the doctors have told a person that this is going to be extremely dangerous for this person, they would be absolutely not allowed. That's what I would say. But if, for example, like a person is not going to be doing that, so if a person is going to be learning but not really kind of fighting in a professional level, then I would say that this would be possibly permissible. Yeah, I mean that's my own take on this. Yeah, other scholars I know might differ on this issue, but the reason is because your health is always the most important thing to you in Islam, and if we know from like medical sort of reports, like these are like worldwide medical reports that show that sports like boxing, professional heavyweight boxing and other forms of sports in that manner that go for the face that are bad for you, then clearly it shows you that this isn't something Islam is going to be okay with just because it's very, very famous. Just because there's Muslims involved in there doesn't mean that we can lighten the ruling and say no, it's okay. So we've got to be quite straightforward. If someone asks the question, we've got to say this is it. But yeah, generally that's what I would say. But if there's a person and a doctor has said to him that look, the likelihood of you getting brain damage or anything like that is very, very low, then maybe permissible for them. Yeah, that's possible. Why now? Lighting is perfect. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Pure evil are slavery and sex slaves allowed. Pure evil by, I think you with that name you already answered your question. Okay, look, but your room is so big you can cartwheel. Almost cartwheel. It's not that big, but almost cartwheel. And Islam, Ustad, you mentioned last week about organ donations being an ikhtilaf issue. So what should we do when it comes to the new opt-out system and as it becomes law? I personally have opted in. Yeah, I've opted in. I don't have an issue with it. But it's up to you if you want to take which opinion. Basically, I would say, look, whichever scholar you are comfortable with, you can take their position. It's not necessary to donate your organs. But what I would say is, look, if a person is going to benefit from your organs and stay alive and you're going to help other people, then, it is a good thing to do. End of the day, if something happened to you or a member of your family and you really needed an organ, are you going to let your family just die there and say, look, I don't want organs, let them die. I'd rather not take the organs. Then, it's a bit kind of hypocritical in a way. Saqib Masood Salam, does any fluid from eye break wudu? Any fluid from so if fluid from eye comes out because of excruciating pain, it's an excruciating pain, like a spot or something, or some sort of burst has taken place, then that would possibly break the wudu. Sufyan, wa alaykum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, mashallah. FIFA, وجائز أن يكون قوله إلى ربها ناظرة منصرفا إلى انتظار الثواب كما قالوا بعض أهل التأويل فتنتظر ما يأتيها من التحف والكرامات حتى وصفوا بنضارة الوجوه. ما شاء الله, جميل. Ustad, you got a new house and massive office, mashallah. You just need to get a massive leather chair to match. Look, you know how much those leather chairs cost? What are they called? The Chester. Is it called the Chesterfield? Is it called Chesterfield? Leather chairs. Those are very expensive, man. Those are like, you're looking into, if you want to get like a good one, you're looking into a few thousand there for those chairs. So I've ordered a sort of like mini sort of chair for myself, a sofa kind of chair, which I'm gonna put where that lamp is. It's gonna put next to that. So live streams I might actually do it from there. I don't know. I'll see. But the leather ones, they're a bit expensive. I mean, personally, I don't think like, I personally, the way I think is, you buy something which is going to be practical and it looks nice, okay, that's fine. But if something is going to be practical but it's going to be very expensive to buy, but you could buy something else which is also practical and nice, I'd rather go for the thing that's practical and nice rather than going for something that's a bit too expensive. Maybe later on, I don't know, maybe later on if I kind of like get a cheap version of it or something, then maybe I'll get it. Hamza, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, ya America. How are you, man? Hamza, back into my American accent. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All you American guys are loving my accent. I know you are. You're all saying, yeah. Let's make America great again. You should get a beautiful calligraphy on the wall behind you. Yeah, I'm thinking of maybe, some of you guys are saying get the Roots of Knowledge sign logo. Some of you guys are saying get some calligraphy, some ayats and things like that. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe get my portrait. Astaghfirullah. No, not that. Is it permissible to listen to Quran whilst jogging, doing exercises? Does it go against Etica? If not, would listening to? I would say listen to it. I personally, from my own personal experience, I listen to Quran as much as I can. When I'm driving, when I'm walking, as long as I'm not talking. If I'm talking to someone, I'll turn it off. But if I'm doing something where, even if I don't listen to it like attentively, I will still put it on. And because I personally feel that there is lots of barakah in listening to the Quran. Reading Quran, listening to the Quran, I think there's immense barakah, and I don't want to kind of miss out on that barakah. Which I found, if a person listens to at least 1 hour of Quran every day, it has definitely an impact on your life. Definitely. That's my experience. Murad Ali Salam, which books do you recommend for beginner intermediate Arabic students in Adab? So in Adab beginner, I would say Qasasun Nabiyyin, and then follow it up by Qira'atul Rashida, and then follow it up by with some books by Ali At-Tantawi, and maybe even Kamil Kailani, or Mohammed, what's his name? Muhammad Amin, his name is Muhammad Amin. Fajr al-Islam wa Duha al-Islam. There's quite a few books. Ahmad Amin. So these are kind of books, and then after that, Mukhtarat would be very good. Right, so these are like some good books. The main thing I would say is students need to just keep reading and read as much as you can. Just lots and lots and lots. Don't think to yourself, there's these set books I have to read in order to become a really good Arabic. It doesn't work like that. The way you become good at Arabic is when your mind and your brain starts to recognize Arabic like your mother tongue. That's when you're starting to really benefit from. And I'd say that really starts to happen when you start to just like broaden your reading. Read Arabic newspapers, read Arabic articles, read Al Jazeera, read BBC in Arabic, read magazines in Arabic, just all sorts of things. Listen to YouTube videos in Arabic. Really kind of develops you. Okay, next. A hadith in Sahih Bukhari says that people will not succeed who are commanded by a woman. If we look at New Zealand, who is led by the female Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, I must say her name, it could be argued that she has been successful as a leader, especially in recent times, with New Zealand's response to the coronavirus, which at the moment is much better than the responses led by men. How should the hadith be understood? Okay, yeah, good question. So basically, when it comes to this hadith, first of all, any hadith that we read, or any ayat that we read, we have to understand the principles under which the ayah and the hadith fit. Yeah, so we don't just read the ayah in thin air. Like, we don't just kind of like first time come across an ayah and the ayah says something or the hadith says something, straight away we build our concept around what the ayah is saying. No, we have to read the ayah in the context of all the ayats, and we have to read the hadith in context of as many hadith as we can. Otherwise, all we're going to be doing is every time we come across a hadith or every time we come across an ayah of the Quran, we're changing our understanding of Islam. Right? And this is what happens when people who haven't studied hadith come across new hadith and they start to kind of become confused, because they used to think, oh yeah, this is the image of Islam that my mind has made. And then when you come across this hadith, and then you come across, for example, like the hadith that's mentioned here, لَن يُفْلِحَ قَوْمٌ وَلَّوْ أَمْرَهُمْ إِمْرَأَةٌ, that people will never be successful if they have appointed a woman as their leader. What does this actually mean? Like, what is it? Does it mean, like, does it mean that any woman who takes the position of leadership in any country, that country will become destroyed? Is that what it means? Or is it referring to a specific community at the time of the Prophet ﷺ? There was a specific community and they had a certain woman leader, and the Prophet ﷺ said this about that particular community, and he didn't mean it about until the Day of Judgment. Yeah, was he saying that? Or was the Prophet ﷺ saying about certain things in administration? Yeah, so for example, certain types of administration posts or duties, departments, where it's not, it's not something which is advisable for like a woman to take that role. Yeah, so for example, like making decisions of war, capital punishments that have to be carried out. Yeah, these kind of things. So this is why this hadith has to be looked into, the understanding of what does it mean. Now, that's one thing. And then the other thing is, in the past, what was leadership like? And in today's times, what is leadership like? So in the past, for example, like leadership was simply, it was an autonomous sort of like government, where there was one person and their decisions just went, no one else's decision. So it wasn't like a sort of a parliament kind of government where you had a group of people where they make the decision, and then there's one person who's like the representative of that group who then voices that decision, which is the case today. So in today's case, if there's a man who's a president or a prime minister, or there's a woman who's a president or prime minister, usually what tends to happen is basically it's the voice of a group of people being represented by one person. So it's not technically kind of leadership as we understood it in the past. Like we saw the way Fir'aun was a leader, and he could just say, kill them all, and then, the army would carry out mass genocide. Right, so this is why we have to understand this. So when this hadith comes, what does hadith mean? So we know in the Quran, for example, like women had leadership. So Sulaiman alayhi salam, when he comes across those people who were, led by a woman. So over there, this woman was a very intelligent woman. The way the Quran even describes this woman was shows that she had understanding, intelligence. And Sulaiman alayhi salam, he did not criticize her government except for the part that they were worshipping other than Allah. That was the only issue. And so that's one issue. So then the Quran doesn't seem to mention anything about the woman being a leader being wrong. And the second is, we know that the Prophet ﷺ, he actually appointed women in his time as being sort of like important roles, like his wives. And then after he passed away, Aisha radiallahu anha, she led the Muslims as well in the battle of the Jamal. She led the Muslims. So if she led Muslims, then that shows that it was the idea of leadership. It is not that she cannot be like, the hadith does not mean that any form of leadership. The hadith is talking about a specific type of role. Yeah, and that seems to indicate towards the leadership which is responsible for making these decisions about war. Are we going to go to war? Yeah, are we going to fight against the other? How are we going to deal with in a war scenario? How are we going to deal with this? So, I mean, her, Jakinda, whatever her name is, her dealing with the situation, alhamdulillah, is very good, right? I mean, that shows that, did she do it on her own? Was it her own decisions? Were there people behind her giving her support? How was it? Now, if we were to put her into a war situation, how would she deal with a war situation? How is she going to deal with a situation where there is, looting going on in her country? How is she going to deal with... If we can see that kind of stuff, then we can have a better understanding of... Does that make sense? So this is the kind of like way we kind of analyze hadith as well. So we look at the hadith, we try to fit it in with what other hadith say. Okay. And that's why I said these kind of hadith should not be in the hands of public. This is the main sort of thing. Hadith should have never ever been in the hands of the public. They've never designed for being in the hands of public. They're always designed to be in the hands of people who are experts in hadith, who understood. This is how it was always been. Just like, for example, medicine. The medical sort of like understanding, medical sort of like studies and all that, they're supposed to be in the hands of academics, right? Academic medical experts. But then when they get leaked and the public have access to these, the public misconstrue what these things are saying, and then they cause loads of conspiracies in people's minds. If you think about it, a lot of conspiracies are caused by people misconstruing medical reports and understanding them without proper medical education. Okay. Look about you've done counseling as in went to a counselor or advice. I advise someone. I will not train. I told the guy I'm not trained, but the guy was begging me. SMB Islam, you forgot to upload the lessons, and inshallah I will do that. Saad Patel, is Maulana Anwar Badakhshani your teacher? He has really good tafsir. Yes, Maulana Anwar Badakhshani, alhamdulillah, I studied by him. I studied Maqamat al-Hariri. We did about five maqamats with him, and then we studied also with him in year 6. We studied year 6, year 7. I think it was Mishkat. Yeah, we studied Mishkat, the first part of Mishkat, the first juz of Mishkat, and then in the last year we studied the second part of Bukhari with him. In the 6th year, did you study with him? No, not the 6th year. FIFA. The ibarat I posted was from Imam Matri's book on tafsir. He seems to suggest the Mu'tazili understanding that Allah cannot be seen is valid. وجاز أن يكون قوله إلى ربها ناظرا منصرفا إلى انتظار الثواب كما قاله بعض أهل التأويل فتنتظر. I'll have to see the whole thing. I would have to see everything that he said before and after, and see what edition the book is as well. Because sometimes what happens is there's editions of his that are not really attributed to him. So I wouldn't be able to just say it from just looking at this, because I haven't come across this text before. Okay, Abu Bakr, why haven't these Islamic books in logic how to derive fiqh rulings developed advanced thinking of our scholars if they've studied these books in madrasas? I mean, why are you saying that they haven't? See, the thing is, the scholars that a lot of people are exposed to are like celebrity scholars who are good at speaking, not necessarily good in knowledge. So, to say that scholars have not developed in how to think, advanced thinking, isn't really kind of true. I mean, there are many of my teachers, many of the scholars I know, who are very sort of, deep in how they approach things. Very they critique things a lot. Manuscripts, editions, masail. So I think a lot of people, they don't get exposed to this sort of like group or category of scholars. So that's why they don't see this kind of stuff. All they kind of see is the scholar who talks about sabr and talks about shukr and talks about the life of the Sahaba. And I know it's just like very sort of like superficial issues related to Islamic topics, not really the core topics. So what I would suggest is study by scholars who are, and then you'll see how advanced scholars are. Okay, Mohammed Raqibul, do you know Hamza Zotis? I don't know him, but I've met him. Should we read comparative religion? I would say only read comparative religion if you have studied your own Quran properly from cover to cover. Bima Bay's question, asking on behalf of my wife, a bit of a deep one. I'm a Riva of Islam, alhamdulillah. My parents are Hindu. when we all die, will I meet my parents in the hereafter? If I go Jannah, inshallah, can I ask Allah if I could see them or ask for mercy if you could direct it? So, I mean, this is a very good question. Very good question. See, when we're living in the world, we have no control of what Allah does in the hereafter. That's the first thing we have to remember. We have no control of what Allah does. Like, we can't dictate to Allah. This is Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah's position. We cannot dictate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of how Allah's going to deal with them. Yeah, we hear some ayat and we hear some hadith about how Abu Lahab and Fir'aun and these people will be dealt with, but we can't say about everyone. Everyone is going to be judged according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not by us. Yeah, we can only judge someone, let's say 5% of the reality of who they were. Yeah, you guys only know me once a week or twice a week or some from my videos. You don't really know me 100%. Some of you might know me 5%, some 10%, some. You guys know me different levels. Allah knows me 100%. He knows my intentions, why I did things, why I have accepted things, why I have, committed certain crimes. Allah knows all this. So Allah knows about your parents. Allah knows 100% their situation. So this is why I would say is that if you ask me that if someone died upon kufr, and they rejected Islam, they were presented with the true image of Islam, and they rejected it, I would say to you, based on that concept, any person who done this, is not going to go Jannah. This is a concept. I'm telling you a concept. But if you said to me, what's going to happen to my parents? I can't tell you. Oh, well, wallahi, 100% I cannot tell you. Right? So when scholars speak about these things, the scholars will be very careful how they word it. They'll say that if a person does this, that person in the hereafter will get this, because this is what we've learned from the ayats and this hadith. But nowhere in the ayats and the hadith is it mentioned that so-and-so's parents are going Jannah or Jahannam. The only people that were guaranteed to go to Jahannam, like Abu Lahab, Fir'aun, and those individuals that are mentioned in the Quran. And the scholars say, otherwise, besides that, we have to mention sifat, attributes, and likewise, we can't say going Jannah as well. Just because someone's prayed all their life, just because someone knows the kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasul, someone's memorized the Quran, just because someone has lived their life and been Hajj and all that, doesn't mean they're going Jannah. But if you asked, if someone was to live their life and leave the world with the kalima and ask Allah forgiveness, would they go Jannah? We said, according to what we've learned, yes. But we can't point out individually that this individual is going Jannah or this one. Does that make sense? So this is why this is something which, it's very difficult for a lot of people to understand, because a lot of people, when these come to these kind of issues, they're saying it from the perspective of a Muslim who's brought up a Muslim and has seen only their family being Muslims. And for them to just say, oh, so-and-so's, so-and-so actress is going Jahannam, so-and-so actor's going Jahannam, subhanallah. I mean, you really 100% have that sort of yaqeen and knowledge that they're going Jahannam. You really know, you can see the future. Yeah. Knowing the future is only known to Allah. So you got to be very careful in how we deal with these kind of things. Okay, Mohammed Rakibul. How to be like the great Imams, meaning best talib ilm. Work hard. Ask Allah, work hard, and that's how it's going to come. Yeah, a lot of people, they want things to become very easy. They want to be like Imam Malik or Imam Abu Hanifa, but they don't want to go through. Imam Malik lived a large portion of his life in poverty. There's mentioned that Imam Malik, on one occasion, he was forced to sell like parts of his house, the roof, in his house, the parts of the roof, just to get food for him and his family. This is the kind of situation that Imam Malik had to go through. Now, maybe there's people here that have gone through similar situation, or even worse, but we have to remember, for the sake of studying knowledge and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, many of these people's lives are hidden from us, like icebergs. The greater part of the difficulties that they went through in life are all hidden. We just see that tip, right? The kind of like limelight that they've had, and then we think we want to be like them. But then the thing is that, are we ready for that? Okay, let's look at this side then. Is it sinful for a Muslim to flout lockdown laws in the place they reside? Not necessarily sinful. It won't be sinful as a Muslim sinful, but it would be considered to be wrong, as from an Etica point of view. For a Muslim, it would be wrong in that sense. But you can't say it's going to be a sin unless you signed an agreement with the government to say that you will not break the laws, and then you broke the laws. You'll be sinful for breaking that that agreement. Is it acceptable for a Muslim to say that there is nothing miraculous about the way the Quran sounds to the listener when it recites in melodies with Tajweed? I mean, it's acceptable, but I wouldn't word it like that. Yeah, I wouldn't word it like that. I mean, the melodious tone in the Quran isn't necessarily miraculous in nature. Yeah, because that melodious tone is made by an individual. So, but maybe word it in a different way. Is Islam a sexist religion as it allows men to marry women from the people of the book, but it doesn't allow Muslim women to marry men from the people of the book? No, Islam is not a sexist religion. Is that the answer you want? Or are you saying, see, these kind of questions, I don't mind answering these kind of questions, but when people already kind of have made up their mind and they've kind of like come out and said, right, well, is it Islam like this? Because Islam does this. It's like one of those ones. So I don't know, maybe the person who's asked this question hasn't worded it right, like has made it sound a bit blunt. But Islam isn't the thing. See, we are confused in what does it mean to be fair in a society. What does being fair in a society? What does justice mean in a society? Yeah. So for example, like imagine if there's a woman, and this woman's pregnant, and there's a man who is not pregnant, obviously, hope not. And both of them, if the government treated them both exactly the same in the country, would that be right? Think about it. There's a woman who is pregnant and she is a single mother. She's not married, nothing. And there's a guy who is like healthy, full, adult, both at the same age. And let's say, for example, like one has, obviously is going to give childbirth. If the government treated them exactly the same, right, what are people going to say? Is that justice? Do you think that is justice? What is justice then? So we have to understand, when we are trying to understand justice, we can't understand justice in our own mental sort of like manufactured form of justice. That we want justice to be like this and we want it to be like this, and if the Quran doesn't fit in with this, then the Quran's not just, the Quran's not fair. Right? So this is the wrong mentality that we have. So in other words, if you want justice, everyone should be treated the same, the disabled the same, the elderly the same, every man the same, every single woman the same. So if you want everyone to get exactly the same treatment as everyone else, then people are going to turn around to you and say, no, I don't want it like this. It's not fair. If there was a woman pregnant, this woman should get some, benefits from the government. This woman should get help, support from the government. If there's an elderly person, people should get support. So when we look at these kind of things, we have to understand Islam in that sense is not sexist. It's not unfair to any gender. Islam is built upon how humans naturally exist. Humans naturally exist in this way. Yeah, that men marry, and men are providers, and naturally it's the men that are the protectors in the society. That's how it generally works. And so you have this concept, and then you have, when it comes to the issue of marriage, why does the Quran allow men to marry Christian women or Jewish women? Is it because men are just sexually just crazy and they just can't wait to just having intimacy with any woman that they see on the streets? No, that's not the case. It's based upon a society. You'll only see the benefits of this in a society if you are able to see how a society in a natural environment flourishes. That's how you'll be able to see it. So this is why when we start making judgments against Islam, and we're making those judgments based upon us living in the West, in Boris Johnson's, constituency, or under whatever law, then obviously we're going to come to our own conclusions about what justice means, and then we're going to start superimposing on Islam, and then we're going to start making accusations against Islam. 100 years down the line, if you're 100 years back in the past, right, people would look at Islam in a different way. And 100 years in the future, people are going to look at Islam in a different way, because people are going to be judging Islam based upon the comforts that they're having in their society. Now, if someone goes to a country like Africa, with certain places where it's norm for a man to have multiple wives, and women actually, they find protection in this, and they find it to be an honor in this as well. Now, if someone was to go from here and say to a woman in Africa, oh, you need to take back your rights, you need to only have your husband marry you need to tell your husband to divorce all the rest of his wives, how dare he? Like, who are we to tell people of how they should live their lives? If a person doesn't want to accept Islam, that's fine. Yeah, that's what the Quran says, la ikraha fi din. But then for a person to kind of make critical analysis of Islam based upon their own society, that's unfair, that is. So, short question, Islam is not a sex religion. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Really enjoyed the podcast with brother Smile to Jannah. His Dr. Zakir impression was amazing. I remember coming to across a hadith one time. It's narrated the sound chain of transmission that our beloved Messenger ﷺ said, do not laugh too much, for verily excessive laughter kills the heart. How should we understand this hadith? Yeah, so this is a good hadith. So when the question comes regarding these types of hadith, what we have to remember is what does excessive laughter mean? What does laugh too much mean? So if you had 100 people and you analyze their lives, let's say, and you had one person who never ever laughs, and then on the other extreme of the spectrum, you have someone who laughs every single time, every single thing you say he laughs. At which point are we going to say this is too much and this is too less? So the issue when it comes to understanding these hadith is that this hadith is not a clear-cut hadith as to drawing the line of what does it mean excessive. So when we say this is excessive laughter, it's relative. Yeah. What the commentators of the hadith seem to say is that excessive laughter is when people look at a person and that person seems to, kind of in every situation is just laughing. Like he does not take anything seriously. That's the kind of laughter which seems to be negative spiritually for the person. But if a person is with another person or with his friends and they occasionally are laughing and they're joking, or sometimes you're with someone and they're just giggly people, funny people, right? That's fine. That even in the time of the Sahaba, some narrations mention there were certain individuals among Sahaba who used to make the others laugh and joke until the Sahaba would hold their sides in laughter. So this is why when we try to understand this hadith, again, don't look at this hadith from a vacuum, right? My advice, we do not look at this hadith from a vacuum, because if you look at it from a vacuum, all you're going to see is every time someone laughs, how many times did he laugh? Oh my God, he laughed today 3 times today. I think that's too much, that is. You should only laugh. I personally think you should only laugh once a day. And then tick it off in your phone that you laughed today and that's it, you can't laugh again. And the other thing is, Allah in the Quran, He even says, Huwa adhaka wa abka. Allah is the one that makes people laugh, has created in them this ability to laugh. So that's why laughter is something you can't control sometimes. Some people are very, very giggly people. You can't help them. They can't help themselves and just laugh. It's not like, for example, like someone who is stressing themselves, straining themselves and trying to laugh. So this is why these kind of things have to be understood in the context. Is the word Ameen, which is recited immediately after Surah Fatiha, part of the Quran? No, Ameen is not part of the Quran. Okay, I don't have any questions. Jazakumullah khair. Someone's written a very nice message. May Allah bless you. May Allah give you barakah. Okay, alhamdulillah, all the questions on Curious Cat are done. Okay, S. Hussein, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nice rain. Are you enjoying the rain? Mohammed Rakib, can you guys hear the rain from here? So this is what rain sounds like. I like the sound of rain. The smell. Do you guys like the smell of rain when it first starts in the summer? And that soil kind of smell you get. Okay, Muhammad Rakib, how to be a good memorization? Just keep memorizing. Google this. You're asking questions that you can Google. If you can Google questions, then I'd rather not answer them. Kayhan Alimi, salam brother. Can you use taqweem from Surah 95 verse 4 as a erector standing upright? I saw a video from There Is No Clash about evolution. Can you please analyze? Inshallah, next time. I don't have the Quran open in front of me at the moment. I'd have to read what the Mufassirin say as well. But usually, if you're talking about Surah Wat-Tini wa Zaytun, fi ahsani taqweem. So qawwama yuqawwimu taqweem, it means to be something which is upright, something which is correct in its form. So to kind of twist that meaning and to take out from there a meaning that a person wants, they can do that easily. So if someone wants to take out from that verse and say, okay, ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, for example, mustaqim is from the word qama yaqumu, to be erect, upright, and therefore ihdina sirat, the path of mustaqim. So therefore humans were bent one day and then they became straight. So you see, people can take verses of the Quran and they can twist them in the way they want. Noor setting, crypto. Assalamu alaikum. Do you have to read Sunnah Mu'akkada prayers Yes. Is there a difference in method of praying? Fard, Sunnah, Mu'akkada, Ghair Mu'akkada? No, they all pray the same way, but Hanafi say you should pray them. If a person was to miss them now and again, they won't be sinful for it. But if a person keeps on missing them, there's a fear of sin, Imam Muhammad mentions. And if a person, so if a person kind of like now and again misses them, but regularly tries to pray them, then that's what's recommended. Imran, remember your du'as, Ameen, Jazakallah khair. Haji, Kanim Siyam, my beloved Sheikh in Turkish, can you tell us more about Kanim Siyam? Allah, you're the man, Faisal, you're the man. I need to learn Turkish from you, bro. Can you tell us more about your Alim course? How long will it be? When will we start? My Alim course. I haven't started Alim course yet. But in the future, inshallah, when I do start one, you know a lot anyway. So I don't know why you're going to start from beginning. Brother Faisal, mashallah, studied in so many places. You don't really need to exercise to lose weight, small portions and healthy eating. Excellent, that's it. And once you had mentioned about a special group for the special knowledge. Yeah, that special group is you're going to be in there, inshallah. Hudhayfa Salih, mashallah, Maulana Hudhayfa, Allahu Akbar, Maulana Hudhayfa, mashallah. Guys, if you guys don't know Maulana Hudhayfa, check out Siblings of Ilm. Check out Siblings of Ilm, Google it, YouTube it, and subscribe to Siblings of Ilm. Mashallah, Maulana does lots of work, online, providing lots of resources as well. And I've met him many times, alhamdulillah. And he also does, those Ramadan reminders. You must know the Ramadan reminders. At Sahri time, you get like texts from like 10-15 people with those small little images with like a short reminder on there. Well, if you get one of those, that means you got it from someone or from Maulana Hudhayfa Salih. Yeah, so Hudhayfa Salih does those. May Allah bless him. Lots of people, mashallah, positive feedback for those. So yeah, check out Siblings of Ilm. A.H. wa alaikum assalam. Muhammad Ulamir, please add me to 70 lessons course. Although I sent email, I haven't yet got a response. Is all okay? So send another email, please. Yeah, like I said, there is a 17 Quranic Arabic 17 lessons. It's £50. £50 for the entire course. The course is basically gets you into learning the Arabic language, being able to read the Quran directly from Arabic. Yeah, alhamdulillah, many people are doing it. If you're interested, it's £50 course. That's all it is, one-off payment, and it's 17 lessons. You give the homeworks, you get the homeworks marked, mashallah. So brother Mohammed, if you can just send the email again. I do apologize if you have sent an email before, and then someone inshallah will get back to you. Muhammad Bilal, is all allowed. Okay, so children, if anyone's got children watching, please turn it over now or mute it. Right, I'll be explaining this masala because Muhammad Bilal asked this masala yesterday as well. So is all allowed if you make sure that fluids will not come into the contact with the face? I would say yes, it would be permissible. As long as a person can guarantee that the fluids will not be swallowed or go in the mouth, then they would be allowed. Yeah. Otherwise, it wouldn't be. Hey, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, guys, you can unmute now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. If Hayd starts 2 days early, therefore the 15-day gap between the two Hayd has not been complete, will these 2 days be considered Hayd? What's the exact scenario? So Hayd starts 2 days early, therefore the 15-day gap. So if you can exactly show what this, what's the woman's normal habit? What's her habit? And then we'll be able to work it out from there. Muhammad Rakibul, how to survive from Riya? Just do things privately. MK, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What is the bird droppings got different hukums, i.e. ghaliza or khafifa? So bird droppings themselves, the birds which we can't eat, right? Birds which we can't eat, the ruling for them is that their droppings are considered to be ghaliza, all right? But birds that we can eat, the ruling is considered to be khafifa, lighter, meaning if a person has bird droppings on their clothes, if it's like a bird that they can't eat, then it means that basically if they have more than the size of a coin, they can't pray salat with it. But birds that you can eat, the scholars have said that there's ease in there because these are birds which fly frequently, and there's going to be a more chance of them getting the droppings on themselves. So that's why there's ease, there's like leniency. The Hanafis, Abu Hanifa and Abu Yusuf rahimahullah have a rule, which is if there is ikhtilaf in the narrations, or if there's an ikhtilaf amongst the scholars, the ruling decreases for najasa to khafifa. My question is, how can I make my older sister wear the hijab? What I would say is, don't force anyone to wear hijab in that sense. If they are your brothers or sisters or people that don't force anyone. We're in a time now where people need to be like ready for these things. I personally think they need to be ready. Otherwise, to force someone into these kind of things is just going to make them more rebellious against the teachings of Islam. Encourage them by reminding them, telling them about the seerah. Just tell them about the seerah. Encourage them to listen about the seerah. Don't tell them anything about hijab. You have to create the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hearts of people. And then what's going to happen is people will automatically want to do these things. But at the moment, it's just like a lot of people, what they tend to do is just wear the hijab because they feel they're pressured into it. They feel in their society that, if I don't wear it, what are people going to say? And then that's why later on, when they take the hijab off, then people get shocked and think, how can a person take the hijab off? That's why I would say, encourage them in other ways. Don't encourage them, don't force them with hijab. Encourage them, tell them about the seerah, about these, uplifting talks. Sakim says, would mortgage be halal in the UK? So mortgage being halal in the UK, it all depends upon a person's financial situation. So if a person's financial situation is such that they can get money from other places to buy a house, then it wouldn't be allowed. But if a person has no way of getting money and they desperately need a house and for renting is not feasible for them, then for them taking out a mortgage may be permissible. If a dog licks your clothes, can you pray in them? According to Hanafis, no. If it's more than the size of a dirham, no. Uzma, assalamu alaikum. That was a nice attempt in American accent, but a little off since the whole country is diverse. Yeah, my American accent needs a bit of tweaking, but I'm getting there. Mohammed Rakibul, do you read Al-Fiqh Akbar? Yes. Imran, okay, no, you can't. Okay, Hamdan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I recently read that non-Tullab ulama shouldn't read translation of Sahih Bukhari. What's your take on this? Again, I personally think people who are not versed in the science of hadith should not be reading books of hadith. Simple as that. Any book of hadith, right? It's like, for example, someone who just knows English. Just because they know English, does it mean they qualify to read books on engineering and books on medicine without any training? No, it's not. So if no one's getting training in these kind of things, I personally think they shouldn't be reading these, because it just confuses people, I would say, unless there's some sort of commentary that comes with it. I study Maqamat too. Any advice while studying? Maqamat is a very nice book. The only thing I would say is Maqamat it doesn't really develop a student in the ability to be able to become like fasih. It doesn't. It's not the book for that. It's just like, for example, like a bedtime reading book, I would say. That's the only benefit for it. Yeah, bedtime reading book. If you want to develop your fasaha, then you got to read other books. Other books would be much better. Not the maqamat sort of genre. Kayhan, salam dear brother. Can you use taqweem? Okay, didn't ask that before. White Elephant, hello. Sorry, I've missed a lot of your video. Do you think that all religious people should unite since the government is limiting religious gatherings? Possibly, depends. I mean, I think you guys in the US have it quite bad. But yeah, possibly. I think that common sort of things that bring people together, people should unite and ask for their rights, definitely. Ibrahim Hussain, if you're doing Jummah at home, do you have to do that first azan again? Or, I mean, my view is you don't do Jummah at home. So I think it's best to ask someone else about whether, you can do Jummah at home. Junaid Khalid, Assalamu alaikum Ustad. Are Bashti Zawar and Aqidah Tahawiyya good books for beginners? And are there any books you would recommend for beginners? Bashti Zawar, I don't think Bashti Zawar would be a good book for beginners, personally. Aqidah Tahawiyya, I don't think it's not for beginners. No, these are not. Aqidah Tahawiyya is not a beginner's book. Before you do Aqidah Tahawiyya, you should cover the entire Quran with the teacher. Yeah, I always say that to people. Because Aqidah Tahawiyya, it dives into deep topics, and you're teaching, like imagine like this, imagine you got a child who's 8 years old and you're telling them about really advanced stuff, right? You're telling them about evolution, and you're telling them about, astrophysics, and you're telling them about, advanced mathematics, and you're telling them about, how, let's say for example, social problems occur and psychology. Does that make sense? Like, child's not ready for these things, and you're giving them all this information. Child needs to build up to understanding of background information they need, and then when they start studying this, it's going to make sense to them. Abu Bakr, crash course on evolution of fiqh. Yes, inshallah. I'm actually working on that. So I've done my evolution of fiqh in the past, very detailed one. But what I'll be doing on my YouTube channel is going through. Man, pray for me. My family has caused me a lot of grief, injury, and trouble, and I have no idea what else they're gonna do to me, man. So I need a local imam or something. Bad things happen to me. May Allah make it easy for you, brother. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you. May Allah, try to get in touch with the local authorities, speak to the police or something, or some government officials. White elephant. In Islam, would I be considered according to each and every single individual differently? If you were to ask me, like you're a Christian, if I was to ask you something about Christianity, I said to you, okay, in Christianity, what is this concept? You could tell me what the concept is, the concept of salvation, or the concept, right? But in reality, for you to be able to say this individual or that individual is going hell, or this individual, you wouldn't be able to say it. So likewise, as a Muslim, we believe that there are concepts that our religion has taught us, but we don't have any right to judge anyone regarding what's going to happen to them in the hereafter. Yeah, in the world, we can judge them. So if someone has abused us or said something, we can, contact the authorities. So yeah. So, I mean, all that depends upon your intentions, right? A person, like the Quran says, there is no compulsion in religion. No one can be forced to accept Islam. But when Islam is presented to a person and the concepts of Islam are presented, right, that might take a person, years to understand. That might take months, that might take weeks for some people. It all depends upon their situation as well. Some people are exposed to so many Muslims that for them to know about Islam is just instantaneous. And for some people, they are not exposed to Muslims. The amount they hear about Muslims on the TV is all negative anyway. So they already created this negative image of Islam in their head. And then when it comes time to kind of listen to Islam, they're already kind of like making their own mind up about what Islam has to say, even though the kind of information that they're listening to is very positive for an unbiased person. Abu Bakr, favorite American scholar, as you love USA so much, Mufti, you must have my favorite one, the first ever, I think it was Abdul, what's his name? Sheikh, what's his name, man? Used to be a Nation of Islam, and then he accepted Islam. I forgot his name. Yeah, African American. That was probably the first one I ever heard, and then I heard Hamza Yusuf. So Sheikh Hamza Yusuf after him, and then who else? I think those were the two first ones I heard. I'll try to comment less. I guess this account isn't that good. May Allah make things easier for you, brother. Yeah, and as I said, look, I mean, we can only do as much. If you are really going through big problems, you need to get in contact with people that are local to you to try and help you out. Harun Kabir, Salam Ustad, how's so far during lockdown? Alhamdulillah, very good. Online, everything's online at the moment. But yeah, going well, bro, going well. How have you been? Imtiaz Chaudhary, wa alaikum assalam, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How do you answer if a non-Muslim was to say to you, why are Muslims only going heaven? So it's a good question. So the way we answer it is like this. We say anyone who believes in Allah and believes in the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought down, and if that person has heard the messenger of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then he has to believe in him. This is what we call our understanding of salvation. Yeah, that's what the Quran mentions to us. So in other words, we are not saying that the religion Islam is salvation. What we're saying is the concepts that Islam comes with. So for example, like if there were Christians or Jews around the world and they are practicing their religion as best as possible, and they haven't come into contact with Islam, yeah, we believe that these people, according to many scholars, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them Jannah, with His mercy. Yeah, because these people did not hear about Islam. But once these people hear about Islam and they reject Islam, they clearly reject Islam after knowing the truth of Islam, because Islam came to abrogate all previous religions. Then this is what I said. Then we understand that the concept of a person who rejects is that that person will not enter Jannah. Yeah, but to point out that this individual is not going to go Jannah, that's something we can't do. Did you study anywhere else after Karachi? No. And Takhassus I did in Karachi. Is there any explicit verse or hadith that tells us anything that is harming us is prohibited? Yeah, لا ضرر ولا ضرار hadith, and لا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة, and ولا تقتلوا أنفسكم. Why elephant social justice warriors are so weird? I don't know if it's the same in Europe as it is in the US. If people wanted equality, should we arrest more women? There are more women in prison than women in prison. That's not equal. I'm not for equality, but I am for civil rights. Yeah, definitely. So it's a good point. I mean, the whole concept of justice, these are things that we have to get correct. We have to understand, especially in societies, the way, it's like, before 9/11, the concept of justice seemed to be different. And all of a sudden, after 9/11, the concepts of justice seem to have changed. The way that people are treated. I mean, what's happening in the US with, George Floyd, unfortunately. People are starting to realize there's really big problems in the concept of justice in these kind of areas. And in the UK as well, and even in many Muslim countries as well. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hamdan. Mohammed Rakib al-Hassan. Hassan, Ura Sheikh, another live stream. The blessings keep coming. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. White elephant. We believe in not laughing crazy in my religion either, but it means not to be sarcastic in an uncontrolled manner. Ah, okay. Interesting. Saad, Sheikh Hamdan, he's my teacher at Blackburn. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah. Hamdan, who's your father? Kayhan, that's thanks, my brother. Second message wanted to sound respectful. Muhammad Islam, is it permissible to buy a house on loan? So if you buy on loan, it's fine. I mean, if it's interest loan, then no. Unless, like I said to you, there are special situations. Dina, alaikum assalam. Will women get hoods in Jannah? Allah knows best. Again, the concept about Jannah, about paradise, from a Muslim point of view, is we don't know what paradise is going to be like. We don't know. The Quran gives us like little hints of what paradise is going to be like. But when we go to paradise, inshallah, all of us are going to go, we are not going to see in paradise what we ever imagined in the dunya. It's going to be something totally beyond our understanding. So imagine a world that doesn't follow the same rules of gravity of this world, and doesn't follow the same rules of light in this world, and doesn't follow the same rules of, breathing in this world, it doesn't follow the same rules of thinking in this world. Imagine a world like that. Can you imagine it? No, you can't, can you? So how can you imagine Jannah? So this is why in Jannah, there are going to be its own set of rules it's going to have. So when people ask these kind of questions, that will women have hoods in Jannah, Allah knows best. I mean, it doesn't make sense from a human point of view. It doesn't make sense of why women would there be some sort of like, homosexual relationship like that? It wouldn't make sense. Why would that? Seems unnatural for us in this world as Muslims. And so in Jannah, we wouldn't seem to kind of like, see that as being correct. Hassan Khan, I'm curious, what is your favorite hadith? I don't know, all of them. London, Assalamu alaikum, Ustad. Regarding your dog saliva answer, if a person in our work was licked by a dog, there shouldn't we Hanafis take the Maliki position in order to pray Dhuhr on time? Yeah, I mean, if you can get it wiped off with a cloth, you just get like a cloth or something and wet wipes and wipe it off, then you should do that. If you can't do that, then you pray in that state, and maybe the Maliki position can be taken there. Umar Shahid, Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Alhamdulillah, I'm very good. Thank you very much for asking. Is it allowed to wear shirts from football clubs such as Real Madrid and Ajax or Ajax, because there is a Christian cross. Yeah, so this is a good question. I spoke to some people about this, and they don't seem to represent Christianity. They seem to represent the national flag. So that's why it would be okay. Yeah, so these kind of things. Although anything that used to be paganistic in the past and is no longer a symbol of paganism today, those are permissible. Imam Siraj Wahaj. Yeah, Imam Siraj Wahaj. He's got a good voice, man. He's got a nice, you like listening to it. No, not Muhammad Ali. No, Malcolm X. Imam Siraj Wahaj. He's a top guy. Umar Shahid. Another question, Sheikh. Can a Hafiz forget the Quran because he commits sins in his life? Possibly. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Oh, look, but is it permissible to go to a halal Michelin star restaurant, or is this seen as excessive? Personally, I would think this all depends upon the person who is actually going there. If it's a person who can afford it and doesn't have any issue with it, then it wouldn't be considered to be problematic. If it's a person who, will struggle to pay for it, then this kind of a person shouldn't, it would be considered excessive for him, extravagance. So extravagance is all to do with a person's like financial sort of position, status. For my 15th year anniversary. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. When your wife watches this, that's it, man. She's going to remember that. That's the thing with wives. They remember stuff that you say. That's it, then you're dead. Are you happy about Liverpool winning the league? They have strong Muslim following and they have a bird of the shirt. Is that okay? And they're red as well. Yeah. And they're red. Yeah. Allah. And the name is liver as well. And it's part of the body as well. And pool as well. Yeah, which in Urdu means flower. Think about it. Yeah, so why wouldn't I like them? I'm not really kind of like too fussed in football. But I think from what I understand, they did quite well this season and last season as well. Tasneem, if men get hools in Jannah, then what do women get in equivalent? Yeah, so again, like I mentioned, when it comes to things of Jannah, the way that people try to understand Jannah is from what they would want today. Yeah, so if a person says, for example, like, in Jannah, men are going to get this, or women are going to get... This does not mean women are going to get nothing. Like, for example, imagine, for instance, like, let's say there's a person who is, let's say, never ever been to a 5-star hotel. And someone says that in the 5-star hotel, you have a large room. In the 5-star hotel, you get nice food. In the large 5-star hotel, you get a gym. The person might think to themselves, why is that it? I'm just going to get these things. In other words, the person has never been to a 5-star hotel in their lives. So they're basing everything around this. So someone might turn around and say, I don't want a gym. What am I going to do with a gym? Yeah, I'm really healthy anyway. I don't need a gym. Yeah, what am I going to get? So you see, that's the problem with trying to understand Jannah. So the way that Jannah has been described to us in the Quran is to kind of motivate people who the Quran is speaking to. Yeah. It's not to take these individual sort of like descriptions of Jannah in the Quran and to think this is how Jannah is going to be. Because like, some people might say, but why would I want trees in Jannah for? I don't like trees. Yeah, I like, putting tarmac and slabs in my garden. Yeah, I don't want trees. I don't want plants. So Jannah is something which is beyond, is going to be something which is totally satiating for every single aspect of your body. Yeah, every single sensory sort of like part of your body is going to be fully 100% satiated. So this is why when we kind of think about Jannah and when we have these questions about Jannah, a lot of people ask these kind of questions. Someone might say, for example, in like a Sahabi said to the Prophet, "O Messenger of Allah, will I get camels in Jannah?" The Prophet said, "Why not?" Yeah. So this is all going to be dependent upon when you get there. First of all, try to get to Jannah. Yeah, by showing obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then in Jannah, Allah will satisfy every single one of your needs over there. Right? A person will not even feel any regret of what they're receiving in Jannah. HK, I am right in saying that you do not sit in the second rakat of the witr prayer. According to Hanafis, you do. According to some madhab like the Shafi'is, in one opinion that you don't. Hassan Khan, salam ya Sheikh, loving the new set. Jazakallah khair, mashallah, Hassan, ahlan wa sahlan. Is a child attributed to the father if born out of wedlock? According to the Hanafis, no, he's not. Or are they allowed to take the surname, last name? They can take the last name of the father, but legally, the basically when it says they can't attribute to the father, it means legally there will be no legal repercussions or responsibilities on the father's behalf for that person. And so they won't inherit from them, they won't provide for them, and vice versa. Sayyid, is it better to pray individually at home or Jamaat with spacing 1 or 2 minutes in the mosque, e.g. Zuhur? Tough question that is. I would say if you are a person who is at risk, vulnerable, or you have people in your house that are vulnerable, pray at home. I would say that. And if you can go to the masjid, then ideally try to go to the masjid if you are not a vulnerable person. So I would say in this situation, you wouldn't be wrong in doing either. Mullah, can I get a certificate after this, inshallah, for the 70 lessons course? Yes, Mullah, for you, for the kind of nice comments that you send me in the emails. Yes, definitely for you. Hassan Khan, where did you get those banging lights from, Sheikh? Did you have any IKEA spree? Which banging lights? Do you mean the one in the corner in the back? No, that light is actually from Next. Yeah, it was from Next. So you ordered it from Next. There's a bit of damage in there. I need to replace the cover, the shade. Jazakallah khair though. Dark Saber 2. Oh, inshallah, Dark Saber 2. Long time no see, man. Long time no see. What's your opinion on the Cambridge Muslim College? Do you feel some of the subjects they teach in British history should be taught in Dars Nizami? Definitely. I think I know a few people who actually very good colleagues that teach there. I think, yeah, definitely. I think that there needs to be a very big change in the Dars Nizami. As many of you guys know, I'm very passionate about speaking about Dars Nizami when I start about it. But I definitely think that there needs to be a revamp in Dars Nizami, ASAP. HK, so in the second account of the witr, should I recite at-tahiyyat? Yes, you recite at-tahiyyat. Okay, Bello, is istighatha permissible? Allah, I was waiting for the istighatha question. So I've answered this 2 live streams ago. Hassan Khan, also, there's so many Hassan Khans in chat, I know. Are you Hassan? So that Hassan is different. Hassan is a Nat Khan, man. Hassan Nat Khan. That's why his name fits in with his function as well, with his occupation. Bisk, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, were there female scholars or advisors in the community who could answer people's questions? Yes, definitely. Aisha radiallahu anha, they say, Sahabas, Tabi'in said, we learnt half of everything that we learnt from the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, and especially Aisha radiallahu anha. There was female judges. Yeah, female judges, you'd go to them and they'd sort out your disputes. So the concept of a scholar in them days wasn't like we have today. It's become more refined now. The concept of scholar in them days was someone who has stayed with the Prophet ﷺ for a very long time, understood the religion at the best level. So people recognize this person as being the most senior in understanding Islam. That's how it was understood. So there wasn't like a Dars Nizami system, you have to study and then you qualify. So that's how it was in them days. London, regarding your Jannah answer, a comment if you don't mind. Not a single man or woman will be dissatisfied or disappointed in Jannah. Yeah, definitely. Yasin Mufti, do you prefer taking a weaker opinion in the Hanafi madhab than a strong opinion in the Shafi madhab? That's actually a very good question, that is. So when we say weak position in our madhab, we don't mean weak as in it's like the concept of usul hadith weak, not that kind of weak. When we say weak, we mean it hasn't been mentioned in the main 6 works of Imam Mohammed. That's what we mean by weak. So our understanding of weak, seems a bit different from yours. Not our weak is not like your weak. Oh, look, but my wife said I should ask you serious questions. She said Mufti Saab will think you are just here to be stupid. Please don't think I'm stupid. Too late, bro. Wife, you are correct. And Ulukpata, you are also correct. Sayyiduddin, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Sayyid. May Allah bless you. I would love to meet you if you come down London. Inshallah, when I come down London, guys, make sure that COVID-19 is over and make sure some nice steaks and burgers are ready, yeah? We'll look at that. Are you Al-Aqsa in July? Yes, I'm planning to go, but if it doesn't go through, then I won't go. Most likely it won't go through. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know. Might go through. But the tour operator is going to refund all the money if it doesn't go through. Mohammed Masinwala, regarding the Dars Nizami, what things do you think should be changed? The main thing that should be changed in Dars Nizami is the way it's taught. The way it's taught at the moment, it's basically like translation of the text, explanation of the text, and then you got exams, and then next year. Translation, explanation, exams, next year. Translation, explanation. That is not the way these books are supposed to be taught. Yeah, the way the books are supposed to be taught is to create a critical thinking student that's able to think about this, ask loads of questions, and look into, cross-referencing one text with another text, and being able to sort of like see problematic issues and try to resolve them. That's the way these books classically have been taught. That's the main thing I would change. There are some sort of like texts as well that I would change, definitely. Hassan has got amazing voice and recites with so much passion, mashallah, alhamdulillah. Muhammad Masinwala, what should the Islamic students do different to students of the past? So strong skills. Now it's just a certification. As long as you do a set number of exams, you certify. That's the biggest problem with this. Imagine medicine was like that. Imagine medicine was simply, the guy just teaches, explains the masala, and then exams and out. It doesn't work like that. In medicine, it's very rigorous. There's all sorts of testing that goes on. There's all sorts of assignments and looking at, Hassan Khan, okay, that's another video idea. Revamp suggestions of Dars Nizami. I'm still waiting for my living as a British Muslim. Hassan, Jazakallah Khair, Hafiz, mashallah. London Ramsey, Ustad, you have taken a Shafi. Ustad, you have taken Shafi. You have held the Musaf. Yeah, that's true. I didn't hold it though. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Is it true that an alima can take up to 70 people in Jannah to heaven? And if that is, what is the person? I mean, see, the narration for this is not very strong. This is just like kind of like encouragement that people kind of use, but the narration for it isn't very strong. The stronger narration is the one for Hafiz of Quran, and it mentions a person who is Muslim but is is going to Jahannam because of the sins that they've committed. So we don't know Allah's mercy. Allah may allow a person who's just been a very good person to intercede on someone's behalf. Who knows? London, steaks and burgers ready to start. MashaAllah, London, you are the man. Yeah. Hassan, do you have any recommendations of good female scholars who speak English? My sister is asking, and I personally don't know any myself. I don't know many out there, to be honest, because I don't really kind of look into these kind of things. Yeah, I'm too busy doing my own stuff. But if there's anyone that knows any good female scholars out there, then please put in the comments, inshallah, someone who's reliable. I think Mufti Abdurrahman Mangera's wife is someone who is I don't know if she's someone that is accessible to other females, but Mufti Abdurrahman Mangera. Maryam Mahmoud, when Jibreel was Hassan will blow the trumpet, will there be a particular place he will send? So it's not Jibreel, so it's going to be Israfil. The narrations mention Israfil. So we don't know exactly what the trumpet is. It a trumpet? Is it like a massive black hole? Is it some sort of like a tear in space-time continuum? What is it? We don't know exactly what it is, but the way it's described to us as a trumpet, so it doesn't mean like a trumpet that someone's standing there and then we don't know exactly how that trumpet is going to be blown. Is it going to be blown by like humans perch it on their lips, or is it going to be some other system? No one has any idea at all. Sayyiduddin, regarding Dars Nizami, you mentioned to develop critical thinking students for teachers. What tips would you give to us? So for teachers, what I would suggest is this. For number one, this is what I do with students, right? And my way of teaching is not the perfect way, but I can tell you from my experience. What I would suggest is this, is that when you teach a student, right, always try to, whatever you're teaching them, always try to make them confident in asking their questions. Always encourage them. Always never belittle them. Never say to them, this is a stupid question. And look at you, why are you asking this question for? You shouldn't ask this kind of questions. Yeah, never ever do that. That's the first thing. Always have respect for your students and always allow them to ask any question that they want. That's the first thing. Second thing is that when you teach a book, so it depends on what kind of book you teach. So for example, let's say you're teaching Hidayah. So when you explain the masla to them, let them read the text, let them translate it, and then ask them now and again, what did you understand from this? What did you get from this? And then what you do is then you kind of like explain the background to the masla, and then you kind of allow them to be able to think about what's being said and already come up with what the text is saying in their own minds before you even say it. Yeah, and then you kind of like throw questions at them. So if you're going to teach Hidayah, and you're talking about, let's say, Masa and Khuffain, ask them, are we allowed to do Masa on normal socks? What do you say? And then that way, what's going to happen is what you've taught them, even if they're coming out with wrong sort of like methodology of how to answer this, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. Is that they are thinking now, right? So you kind of guide them in their thinking. That's the main thing. That's the second thing. And third thing is always give them extra things to read up. Make sure you've done your reading as well. So for example, if you're teaching something like Hidayah, for instance, tell them, I want you to read these few lines in Fathul Qadir and explain to me what he's saying over here. Or I want you to read what Raddul Muhtar says over here. And that way you encourage them and give them confidence that they have the ability to read advanced books. But make sure you've read them, because they might come out with stuff and you don't know, and then you're in trouble. Okay, Harun Kabir Ustad, who's teaching the first year course is the scholars that begins this September? So I'm going to be teaching it. It's going to be Mufti Imran's going to be teaching it on the brother side. There's going to be some female scholars on the sister side. And there's going to be, I don't know who else. I think one of Arid's going to be teaching it. We haven't like kind of had our annual meeting deciding, but those are the usual ones. Yeah, see, Mufti, you are definitely in answering these questions. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Yasin, you're the man. When I come to South Africa, me and you hanging out, bro. Is there any wisdom behind why people get white hair? Allah knows best. I don't know, no idea. Maybe something medical. It's definitely a medical reason. But when they say it's like kind of a sign of wisdom, it's a sign of like old age, which comes with wisdom. I think that's what it is, byproduct. Oh, what time is? Oof. Beamer Productions, can you explain to the brothers and sisters, is smoking shisha haram in Islam, and why is it? Smoking shisha, the short answer, no, it's not haram. Yeah, all these kind of things is all dependent upon health. If a person smokes shisha once or twice a month, let's say, that's clearly not going to harm their health. It's like standing at the bus stop and having to smell all the fumes from the cars. I mean, that's dangerous for you as well. But smoking shisha regularly, according to what's been provided in the reports, medical reports, it's extremely bad for your health. So if it's going to be something regular, then I would definitely say it is definitely something which at least it's going to be discouraged in Islam, if not prohibited. So it balances between highly discouraged in Islam and prohibited between that. Naveed Ahmed, Yasmin Mujahid, great woman of knowledge that you can find on the internet. I don't know. I mean, I don't know her. I don't know her qualifications. I wouldn't be able to recommend if she is, but maybe Naveed knows more about her qualifications. So, but I don't know. Wallah alam. Hassan, Space Time Continuum. MashaAllah, loving it. I think it's all the sci-fi. It's the sci-fi movies that I've kind of got in my head. Hassan, brother, I'm actually a medical student at the moment. Trust me, I'm scared of some of my colleagues becoming doctors. Quite a few chaps take it as just pass the exams and not really learn and reflect. Ajib, look at that. Never imagined that this would be a problem in medicine as well. May Allah save us from these kind of doctors. HK, I have not been sitting to recite at-Tahiyyat in second rakat on the witr. Is this also valid position? According to Shafi, it's a valid position. Yeah, I mean, depending on how you've learnt your witr, I would suggest maybe speak to a scholar about that. But the Shafis are okay with that. That's how they do it as well. Ustad Fatima Barakatullah is very good. Yeah, I've heard of Ustad Fatima Barakatullah. Her father is a well-known scholar as well, and she's also qualified from I think Ibrahim College as well. Because when I went there, I think at that time one of the teachers was mentioning that she was studying there, and she used to make a lot of sacrifice. Like the teacher was saying that he would actually adjust the whole schedule, the week schedule for her, because she would come from so far to study there. And she would sacrifice like long journey just to come and study there. So, they really appreciated her effort. So, London, humans have an average lifespan of 60 to 80 years, and the after that lies eternity seems like a good deal, yet so many will fail, unfortunately. Yasin, what is one of the hardest books you've studied? Actually, I'll show you guys here. I'll show you one of the hardest books I've studied. Yeah, Sabr. Because before someone asks, someone's going to say on there, that book review, yeah? So, it's going to be 2 in 1. This is one of the hardest books. One of the hardest books I've got. Al-Khiyali ala Sharh al-Aqaid al-Nasafiyya. Al-Khiyali ala Sharh al-Aqaid al-Nasafiyya. This was a very difficult book for me when I was studying it. I mean, alhamdulillah, over the years now I'm starting to experience these kind of things to understand. It's basically, Sharh al-Aqaid al-Nasafiyya is an Aqidah book, Ilm al-Kalam. And this is like a very well-known Hashi on it. It's by Mullah Abdul Hakim Sialkoti. Yeah, Sialkot in Pakistan or in India, where it was at that time. So, he's written a footnotes on this. And this is like a very, you can even see these call it Zard paper. It's like a yellow paper. It's supposed to help in being able to read it without losing your eyesight. So this is one of the kind of like advanced books that I really kind of struggled with. Right. So yeah, seen that's one of the tough ones. Hassan Khan, London, Ramsey, yeah, that's called Pascal's Vega. He popularized this concept, though it has some limitations. Dark Saber 2, you should make a video talking through your library. Yeah, inshallah, one day, inshallah. Beamer, on the last question, the venue for the shisha bars, loud music, blasting. Yeah, that's a different thing. So now, now you're adding extra parts to the question now. So when people ask questions, Beamer, you should ask the whole thing in the beginning before, but if you're asking me a question, is shisha allowed or is smoking allowed and these kind of things, then obviously I'm going to give you an answer based upon if that's allowed or not. But then when you're talking about the venue, that's generally anything anyway. Sheikh Muslima Purmul 2, she studied from Azhar. Okay, mashallah. Yeah, so you guys got some names over here, man. You got some names. Anyway, all the questions have been answered. Mashallah, alhamdulillah. And, all of you guys have been wonderful people. If you haven't hit the like button, make sure you hit the like button. Any Americans here today? A few of you guys, put your hands up. But any other Americans here today, mashallah, who can illuminate my room today with your presence? And also, anybody here first time? If you're here first time, put first time. First time. Hassan, great. Should have a book review series now. Honestly, you're spoiling us. Allahu Akbar. You guys deserve it, man. You guys deserve it. Hamdan, the issue we have is that when students ask the iffy questions, they're often rebuked by asatitha. We aren't given the opportunities to ask. It's become a robotic process. Yeah, that's the sad reality, sadly. In many places where it's like, you can't even question. Like, I mean, alhamdulillah, I had some teachers who, if you had questioned what they said, they would be happy to answer your questions. And I remember some of my teachers who found it kind of disrespectful if you questioned what some of the akabirin or scholars said. London, Yasin tomorrow, inshallah. Tomorrow's Yasin, guys. We're going to do Yasin in the afternoon. Right, we're going to do afternoonish time, inshallah. Or what do you think? Afternoon time or evening time? What would be best? You guys let me know. I mean, first time on your bike. Adil Iqbal, first time on your bike. You guys, first time. What's this? Yeah. You guys, I need to put you guys on mute. Harun Kabir. Okay, Harun Kabir, I believe you. Yasin signing up as a patron for Mufti now. Very valuable. Jazakallah khair, Yasin. May Allah bless you guys. If any of you guys want to support this channel, this channel is supported through Patreon. So you basically just donate whatever you want for this channel. And some of the patrons actually get access to some perks, some extra videos and lessons that I do. They get access to those. Usul Shashi and Qatar Nada. We put a new one up, lesson number 22 of Shar Qatar Nada. And what else is there? Tomorrow Nukhbat al-Fikr, the next lesson 10 of Nukhbat al-Fikr as well. And other things as well put up as well. So yeah, Jazakallah khair Yasin for mentioning that. Sharif will, oh yes, Sharif, the jersey, yes, with the Zad, excellent. You make me happy, bro. Sharif, you make me happy. You make my weekend. Harun Kabir, evening, yeah. Uqabi Zwan, sound like some Pathan name, man. Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to ask what you think of Sharh. Hamdan Patel, second time. London, 6 p.m. for Yasin. Look about that. We will never sleep as long as you are on our screen. Allah, that sounds a bit like worship there, bro. That sounds like a bit cultish there. Abu Hafsa, what's up? Were you happy with the Scousers winning the league? You know what? I'm happy with anyone winning the league, yeah, because I don't support anyone. But if you ask me the honestly truth, a lot of my friends support Liverpool, so I was happy they were happy, yeah. And because Mo Salah's in there, and because what's that other guy that cleans mosque toilets? I forgot his name now. Okay, we never get a shout out. Well, that's it. You got one now. You got shouted at. London, mashallah. London, may Allah bless you. Jazakallah khair, London. Check out London's. You got YouTube channel, haven't you, London? Yeah, but you were saying about your steaks. So check out London's YouTube channel. Show him some love. Show him some subscriptions. Show him some trolling as well, yeah? Mullah. Honestly, may Allah reward you all your work, mashallah. You have very good reach and are making huge impact. Ameen. Jazakallah khair. May I reach Allah. May all of us reach Allah. Hassan Khan, Nare Takbir, Sadio Mane. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, there's one, basically, I know Chelsea support, yeah. He goes, every time he's kind of starts in a debate, and I say, look, think about this. They have got two famous guys here, Mo Salah, and they got Sadio Mane, yeah. Mo Salah, whatever he does, yeah, the guy has had a huge impact on, like, Muslims around the world, and yeah, okay. And Sadio Mane, yeah, the guy cleans the toilets here. Mashallah, you gotta give him that. Cleans mosque toilets. So the guy always says, just because he cleans toilets, and probably got paid some guy to take a picture of him as he was cleaning a toilet. So London, you are going to make me a competitive, yeah, cook. So when I become an expert cook, yeah, I'm gonna compete with your channel, yeah, and then you guys are gonna judge us. We're gonna have a what do you call it? Cooking. What's that called, man? What's that? That kind of bake off. Yeah, is it called the bake off? Great British Bake Off. Yeah, we're gonna have a great Muslim bake off. Actually, that'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Imagine we had that. Imagine actually we started Great Muslim Bake Off, and we had Muslim bakers from around the world. They have to get it all recorded. We have to see them cooking, and then I don't know how we're gonna taste it. That's the problem, and you can't have like. Yeah, they got the guy who cleans the toilet. Yeah, so that's it, guys. MashaAllah. I think we'll leave it at that one. Hadoodi versus London Cook-Off, and they invite us all. Yeah, maybe that might be a good idea. Master Chef. Now, MasterChef seems a bit too kind of professional. I think a Great British Bake Off sounds a bit kind of like chilled out. Yeah, like you're not too professional. You're a bit kind of like, a bit of a cowboy. And moving to the UK next year. We'll be there as soon as lockdown is over and get married, inshallah. Allahu Akbar. Yasin, yeah, that's the way, bro. Yeah, you need to bring your noor to the UK. May Allah make it easy for you. May Allah bless your marriage. Guys, and get Gordon Ramsay on. Gordon Ramsay, the amount of swears he says, probably YouTube channel get locked down. Muhammad Khan, subhanallah, great idea. Anyway, guys, Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for honoring me of coming into my room, mashallah, and asking sort of lovely questions, and just keeping me company. That's the main thing. And Umayya, if you're watching, well, you're not supposed to be watching, you're supposed to be asleep, my niece. And my sisters, if you guys are watching here, look at the room now, check out the room. My sisters were basically complaining about, let me just say this. My sisters were complaining about over there where the lamp is, there's a bit of wallpaper that was torn. And that was because this wallpaper has been here before. Yeah, and I want to change this, but at the moment we can't change it because COVID-19, and it's too expensive to get plasters in and plaster the place. So we'll just leave it as it is. And so you guys are saying that why have you got ripped wall? Are you happy now? Are you happy the wall's not ripped anymore? Yeah, mashallah, I put some super glue on there, some sellotape as well. So that's it. Yeah, no more complaining now. Yeah, when I come down, no more complaining and telling me why is this book over here? Everything's set now. Allah grant us all spouses. Ameen, ameen, ameen. Hamdan, ameen, Munshid Sahib. Assalamu, bro. That's it, man. You're gonna get some rishtas. Yeah, you're gonna get some rishtas come in the inbox and the messages. Sharif, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mutual feel, brother. Ameen. Yeah, I noticed the torn wallpaper yesterday. It was really bothering me. Yeah, I think a lot of people get like OCD when they see things out of place. So what some YouTubers do? Let me tell you what some YouTubers do. They have a green screen here behind them, and what they do is they take a picture of their room and they blur it, and then with the green screen, what they do is they superimpose that blurred image onto the green screen, so it looks as though you're looking at their real room, but they've actually kind of photoshopped it. You see, I'm not like that. I just show you as how it is. Show you like the Birmingham style, man. The Birmingham style, And many of you guys love my Birmingham accent. Many of you guys, Iman becomes taza, like they say. The Iman becomes taza when you hear the Birmingham accent being said by, being recited, read by the people. Yeah. Can we have a close-up of it? No. Well, you can, but see the problem is the wire doesn't reach that far in the camera. Yeah, but I don't know if you can see from here. See, this is the good thing about having nice lighting. Nice lighting covers everything. It confuses people. So basically, if you want to have a nice house, forget about all the decorations. Spend a lot on the lighting, and that's it. You're sorted. Muhammad Khan, mashallah, the rooms. Jazakallah khair, Muhammad Khan. May Allah bless you. Ruhin, wa alaikum assalam. Hassan Khan, Birmingham. Man, Hassan, you know how it works. All right, guys, so Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for tonight, and I will inshallah see you guys so last call then. What time should I do the Yasin tomorrow? Yeah, it's either going to be in mid-afternoon about 2ish, or second option is going to be late at night. Yeah, late at night, meaning around about 9ish, something like that. Yeah, Maghrib time, break for Maghrib, around about that time. So what are the two times? You tell me. What are the two times that would be better? So the people who come out with the best opinion or the best suggestion, inshallah, I'll probably take them into consideration. Is the Aston Hans and Nishal's accent? That's the way, man. This is the true, what is it called? There's actually a word, there's an old, ancient, like medieval word they used to have for Birmingham. Yeah, and don't say it's 4 letters and begins with S and ends with T. Don't say that. Yeah. I forgot what it was. It's actually in the dictionary, you can check it. If we're that good in all space-time continuums. That's it. Zainul, late at night, after Maghrib, Muhammad, 9 o'clock, please. Yeah, late, yeah? Okay. Looks like the late 9 o'clock ones are gonna be winning. Looks like they're gonna be winning, inshallah. Doing this myself, may Allah may Allah bless you. Which other one is there? Jazakallah khair, guys. Anyway, take care, guys. Remember your du'as, and remember everyone else your du'as as well. Hassan, don't say Hassan. You can't diss the Birmingham. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.